Hello everyone. I kind of can't believe I'm finally saying this, but you are here watching my review of the new Scream movie, the fifth installment of the franchise. If you are worried about spoilers, have no fear. This review is totally spoiler-free, and I would not dare ruin an ounce of this movie for you right now. Speaking of which, I don't think you really need a synopsis for this, but basically, Ghostface killings start happening again in Woodsboro, and the original three, Neve Campbell's Sidney, David Arquette's Dewey, and Courteney Cox's Gale, reunite to help the new cast of characters try to survive. There are so many more details I am very eager to share and discuss with you all, but not just yet. I feel like a lot of you out there are very well aware of this at this point, but just in case anyone watching this is new to the channel, I am coming at this review as a die-hard Scream fan. It is one of my favorite film franchises, if not my #1 favorite. The original Scream movie is my second favorite movie of all time. I genuinely love all 4 installments. I have overanalyzed them all quite a bit, and I have certainly taken part in my fair share of theorizing leading up to the release of this new movie. That being said, probably no surprise, but I kind of couldn't control my expectations for this one. They were as high as can be going into it, which I know can be dangerous, but now it brings me more joy than you could ever imagine to be able to tell you that this new film actually managed to meet those expectations. I really love this movie, but I will tell you that there are 2 things in particular that I might be a bit critical of after one viewing. The first is that there's one new cast member in the main ensemble that I didn't feel got the screen time or layers to make them make a really big impression. And then also, there's a pretty big swing that the filmmakers take in this story that I don't know if it quite worked for me, but I'm a little torn on it at the moment and just really eager to give the movie another watch and give it another watch knowing that that's coming and, maybe having more bandwidth to let it sink in more. And really, one viewing of the 5th Scream movie for me was overwhelming. It kind of reminded me of the way that I walked out of Avengers Endgame, where just so much had happened in this one story. It meant so much to the franchise overall, and I was just so emotionally invested in the movie going into it. And I actually think that all of those feelings were even stronger for me with this Scream movie. So I was kind of exhausted and even in a little bit of shock walking out of the film, and I mean that in a good way. Scream 2022 was really an ideal continuation of this story for me. You can't recreate the magic of that original film the same exact way, and the thing is, this movie actually knows it, it embraces that point, and it kind of pokes fun in it. This movie does get very playful with its assessment of the Scream franchise and also the horror genre in general. And yeah, there are instances where, you need to be able to take a joke, but there's something about all of those jabs, the callbacks, the changes, the daring story choices that just felt like they were done in a very loving and respectful manner. Like, you can feel that this story was being told by creators who love the Scream franchise just as much as I do. In fact, there's one particular monologue in this movie that's delivered by the incredible Jasmin Savoy Brown that just really felt like it was directed at me. I mean, just imagine a movie basically spelling out your almost exact experience with falling in love with a franchise. It was like I was there, watching this movie, knowing that I'm in a theater with a few other people, but then a character says something and it's like everything around you just melts away, and it somehow feels like this character is looking directly at me and me alone. And I know many people out there are going to have that same sensation, but it was a very surreal feeling that I've never had quite like that. And I think the great success of a beat like that speaks to the filmmaker's understanding of the material that they're working with, and then also just A+ delivery from Brown. And speaking of the cast, this is really an all-around excellent group of actors that they've assembled to fill out that new young ensemble here. As much as I want to highlight every single one of them right now, I am going to limit it to the peak standouts and just further emphasize that Brown is a damn star. If you are not watching Yellow Jackets, please get on that, but also you can just feel how naturally electric she is in this Scream movie. There's one particular scene that I keep thinking about with Brown at the center of it, and it's a scene that kind of feels like it shouldn't have worked, but it really does, and I think it's because of her performance. Now, this next one you probably don't need me to say because you've all seen it in the trailers. Jenna Ortega is phenomenal. I've been a fan of hers for longer than this, but I've been saying this particular rather extreme thing ever since seeing The Fallout last year, which is actually coming out on HBO Max later this month. Do check it out, but I am a big believer that Jenna Ortega is one of the absolute best of her generation. You don't want to miss her work. I want to continue on so badly, but I think I'm going to stop there with the new cast. Again, I don't want to give anything away too soon and really want to be able to tell you why I think they deliver so big with some more specifics. So Joel and I will do a full roll call for you in our spoiler review this weekend. As for the big three, I mean, it's like they never left the roles, and it's really always felt that way to me. I think the bigger question right now with Sidney, Dewey, and Gale is, did this script justify their return, and does it continue their stories in a meaningful way after all this time? And my answers to those questions are yes and yes. Again, more specifics to come on that when the time is right, but I'll tell you that there are some very, very satisfying steps forward for those characters in this particular film. As for the kills and scares, they are very, very good. They're different, though. It's like, I think that when I revisit them, I won't naturally refer to them the same way that I do the kills from the previous films, like saying garage door or movie theater. Rather, I think the attacks and kill sequences in this fifth film are more so defined by character qualities and arcs, and that was something that was really refreshing, that I appreciated. Also, they do feel a lot bloodier and darker than those previous films, or, maybe more specifically 2, 3, and 4. This movie can get very, very vicious and dark, and I found that it served the story they were telling quite well, and also really significantly just intensifies the threat and ups the stakes tenfold. All right, it's score time, and I am so excited about where I landed on this movie. I am giving the new Scream 4.5 Deweys out of 5 on the Dewey Decimovie scale. I felt like I was respected, rewarded, and even celebrated for being a Scream fan through this film. I truly cannot imagine a better balance between honoring the past and also evolving than what we get here. It's just a really smart, thoughtful, and very well executed way of continuing this franchise. And also, just because I know many of you have already asked, do you need to see the previous films in order to enjoy this one? I kind of am tempted to say no, because I do really suspect that this is a strong enough story to stand on its own 2 feet to a degree and to bring in new fans. But, and this isn't a spoiler, you all know it connects to past events, there are callbacks. So yes, revisit the whole franchise for maximum effect here. But again, as a die-hard fan whose career and taste in content is so heavily influenced by the Scream series, and, also even my general happiness for that matter with how I tend to lean on these movies in my everyday life, this new movie, meant the world to me. To directors Matt Bettinelli-Olpin, Tyler Gillette, writers James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick, and the whole team behind this new Scream movie, thank you, thank you, thank you for kicking off my 2022s just so strong and somehow making my love of my favorite film franchise even stronger. All right, it's over for now. I'm stopping my non-spoiler review there, but I've already told you are getting so much more Scream content on this channel and on Collider as well. Joel and I will have a probably way too long spoiler review for you when the movie is in theaters. But before I let you go with this video here, I got a Patreon shout out, and it's going to someone else who I know is a very, very big Scream fan. He's the reason why I got that super cool t-shirt that I was wearing in my Scream interviews. He's Ian. Ian's one of the best of the best. Ian, I love celebrating my favorite franchises with you. You somehow up my enthusiasm. I think the world of you. Thank you so much for your continued support. Big thank you to everybody out there. Oh, I didn't even put the call out. I need to know what you think of this Scream movie when you see the movie. Hit the comment section below. Tell me everything, please. No spoilers here, though. Let's save those for the next video. I'll see you soon.